Some people conquer by shouting. These three do it by speaking softly enough to make you lean closer. And that is when the real damage begins, because in fiction, most villains advertise themselves. They grin too hard, laugh too loud, and force the room to remember them. Johann Liebert does the opposite. He enters like a rumor. He does not dominate with volume. He dominates with absence. That is his genius. Johann's power is not that he attacks your body first. It is that he attacks your certainty. He studies people the way a surgeon studies anatomy, then removes the one thing they rely on most, their belief that the world is stable. Johann understands that fear does not need thunder. It only needs doubt. He can stand in a room and make every person there feel as if they are already guilty of something they cannot name. He does not threaten directly. He suggests. He plants a line of thought, then lets the victim finish the sentence themselves. That is why he feels so monstrous. He turns the human mind into an accomplice. What makes Johann terrifying is that he rarely appears emotional. He is calm in the way a frozen lake is calm. Beautiful on the surface, lethal underneath. And because he never overplays his hand, people reveal themselves around him. They confess, panic, betray, and destroy their own lives, while he watches like a man observing weather. Johann's violence is philosophical. He doesn't merely want to win. He wants to prove that identity can be erased, morality can be dissolved, and the self can be made to collapse from the inside. Light Yagami is a different species of predator. If Johann erodes the mind, Light audits it. He begins as a prodigy who believes intelligence should rule the weak. That is the first danger. Not evil, exactly. Certainty. Light's fear tactic is not intimidation in the ordinary sense. It is omniscience, or at least the illusion of it. With the Death Note in hand, Light learns the most terrifying lesson in human behavior. People obey the thing they cannot explain. He never needs to shout because the world itself begins to whisper his name. Every unseen death becomes a message. Every sudden collapse of an enemy becomes proof that resistance is pointless. He turns distance into a weapon. The farther he is from the target, the more godlike he feels. Light is fascinating because he weaponizes logic as theater. He speaks like a judge, thinks like a mathematician, and kills like someone cleaning a stain from a white shirt. But his real mastery is how he makes other people participate in his mythology. Investigators fear him because they cannot predict him. Followers fear him because they can. If Johann makes people question whether reality is real, Light makes people question whether justice itself is already his property. And yet Light's calm is not empty. It is performative. He always knows he is being watched, even when no one is there. That creates a different kind of horror. Johann looks like a void. Light looks like control. One makes you feel erased. The other makes you feel managed. In both cases, the result is the same. You stop acting freely and start behaving as if the answer is already decided. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka may be the coldest of them all because he refuses the aesthetics of evil entirely. He is not theatrical like Light, and he is not abyssal like Johann. He is quiet in a way that feels engineered. He does not announce his intelligence. He minimizes it. And that is exactly why people misread him until it is too late. Ayanokoji's manipulation works because he understands human ego better than most people understand their own reflections. He knows when to step forward, when to vanish, when to let someone else believe they are in control. In Classroom of the Elite, the most dangerous move is rarely the loud one. It is the move that preserves the system while secretly owning it. Ayanokoji masters this by never appearing desperate. He lets others compete, posture, and expose their weakness while he remains almost offensively ordinary. That ordinariness is the trap. People underestimate what they cannot emotionally categorize. They assume silence means passivity. They assume calm means innocence. Ayanokoji turns those assumptions into leverage. He measures people by pressure points. Pride, insecurity, jealousy, status hunger, romantic attachment, fear of humiliation. Then he applies just enough force to make them act exactly how he predicted. Unlike Johann, Ayanokoji is not interested in collapse for its own sake. Unlike Light, he is not building a personal god complex for the world to worship. He is something colder, a strategist trained to treat human beings as variables. That sounds clinical because it is, but the horror comes from how invisible he is while doing it. He does not need the room to fear him. He only needs the room to move in ways that serve him. By the time anyone realizes they have been guided, the decision they made already feels like their own. Put these three beside each other and the pattern becomes brutal. Johann weaponizes existential dread. Light weaponizes judgment. Ayano Koji weaponizes social engineering. Different methods, same result. They make other people small. Johann's silence says you are fragile and your identity can be broken. Light's silence says you are being watched and your fate is already written. Ayano Koji's silence says you are predictable and I have already mapped you. That is why they feel so unsettling. None of them rely on physical dominance. They do not need to swing first. Their battlefield is the mind, and their greatest weapon is restraint. Real fear is not the moment of impact. It is the interval before impact, when the body knows something is coming but the mind cannot yet name it. This is also why audiences are obsessed with them. They represent three fantasies of power that modern people secretly understand. Johann is the nightmare of meaninglessness. Light is the nightmare of authority without accountability. Ayano Koji is the nightmare of intelligence without conscience. We do not just watch them because they are smart. We watch them because they expose how easily people can be shaped by tone, timing, and the need to be seen. They are reminders that manipulation is rarely loud. The loud manipulator begs for attention. The cold manipulator becomes the atmosphere. That is what these characters do. They alter the temperature of a scene until everyone inside it starts making choices from fear instead of freedom. So what separates them in the end? Johann destroys the soul by making it doubt its own value. Light destroys opposition by turning morality into an execution method. Ayano Koji destroys illusions by proving that most people are simpler than they think and more controllable than they admit. Johann is the abyss that smiles. Light is the verdict that speaks. Ayano Koji is the chessboard that pretends not to notice the player. And that may be the deepest lesson here. True power in fiction is not noise. It is composure under pressure. It is the ability to remain unreadable while everyone else is emotionally naked. These characters scare us because they reveal a brutal truth. People fear what they cannot interpret more than what they can fight. That is why their voices stay low. A raised voice signals need. Silence signals command. Johann whispers and entire lives unravel. Light speaks calmly and the world starts obeying. Ayano Koji barely reacts and everyone else bends around him. Their quiet is not weakness. It is domination stripped of performance. In a world addicted to spectacle, the most dangerous mind is the one that does not need to announce itself. It simply watches, calculates, and lets fear do the talking. If this breakdown hit hard, remember this. The coldest characters in fiction do not win because they are loud. They win because they understand people better than people understand themselves. And once you see that pattern, you start noticing it everywhere. Subscribe for more.